All right, welcome back to Top 5 Vinyl, where we show love to vinyl owners. Today I'm here with Chris. How's it going, sir?
I'm good, thank you. You good, sir?
Doing good, doing good.
Good.
In
International.
international. Where are you located, by the way?
I'm over in Chesterfield in Derbyshire, the northeast of Derbyshire in the United Kingdom,
Nice. All right.
on a grey, dark October evening.
All right. And where can the people find you? Instagram?
Yeah, they can find me on Instagram at a tribe called Kamek, or one long word. And then you'll find on there my photography, my other bits of hobbies and pastimes, but also you'll find a link to my show, my show, the Beats, Rhymes and Roots show, which is done on a Radio Free Matlock. So all my links and stuff are on there. So just follow me. It's set to private, but follow me.
Hmm.
I'll add you. You know
All
what I
right.
mean?
And I'll put
Uh,
all the information at the
top
bottom
and
of the
bottom,
screen for
but
everybody.
yeah, all the information at the bottom. That'd be great for me. Thank you. Yeah,
Absolutely.
that's how you'll find me.
Absolutely.
I'm
Okay.
always up for a chat.
All right. And before we officially get started, I want everybody to subscribe, like the channel, tell your friends, all that cool YouTube stuff you guys got to do. With that being said, let me switch it up a little bit. Chris,
Okay.
how many record players do you think you've been through in your lifetime?
I'm gonna say I'm 45, so I'm gonna say since the age of my first Fisher Price
Yep.
little one when I was probably like 4 or 5. I'm gonna say 15.
Oh,
I'm
wow.
probably record player number 15 as we speak, and I've got a
Okay.
spare one in the other room.
Favorite brand?
Um, Basically whatever was most affordable at the time. So like
Mm.
I've got a Newmark direct drive turntable in the back, but one that I bought because I'd read some good reviews and it was aesthetically pleasing in my lounge set up in my apartment. I bought one of the Marley ones,
Mm.
one of the
Mm.
Eco ones,
Okay.
and that gives a really nice sound, really good sound. So I'm really happy with that.
Okay.
Got a nice. It's kind of you can connect it to a wife to like a Wi-Fi speaker if you want, but I hook mine up through my stereo setup and stuff.
Gotcha. Okay.
So yeah, it's nice. There's a couple of £100. So I don't
Mm.
know what in dollars, pounds. Sorry, not quid, pounds.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, it gives a really nice, rich sound. One that I
Okay.
can really get down with. So that's good.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like you had the Fisher Price, so I would assume mom and dad potentially had record players in the house.
Yeah. So my mum, big influence on my music and taste. So like she was big into sort of Motown.
Mm.
She loved people like Dionne Warwick, Elkie Brooks, Kate Bush, Queen, a lot of two-tone stuff like Madness and the Specials. So my and Prince.
Mm.
So my musical upbringing was kind of in that. So like she reminded me of this the other day that every Sunday afternoon she'd be doing household chores. So we would always listen. She'd always let me play records that I liked, and I always gravitated towards Prince's Purple Rain,
Mm.
and also it was a best of a Kate Bush best of the whole story.
Mm.
I just used to play those and play those and play those and play those,
Mm.
and I was just so obsessed by the sound, the
Mm.
sound. Because if you know, like Prince and Kate Bush are quite different artists, but
Right.
they're artists in their own right. So very stylistically different. But I just loved as a kid, I just remember loving the layer of sounds.
Mm. Mm.
I didn't understand all the lyrics, didn't get all of that, but as music, it was just so amazing to me.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it comes really from my mum's love of music.
Okay.
Um, and it just always having the radio on,
Mm. Mm.
always being around it, and being fascinated by. I was fascinated by 45 singles.
Mm.
That was something that was, and the idea of it was you could turn it over, you
Mm.
could change it, you could drop the needle. There's a you have to be so careful. You're told be really careful, do it really carefully, and you do it,
Mm.
and the reward was this something coming back to you. Like that was the reward of being so careful with this fragile thing.
Yeah.
You know,
That's awesome. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
good memories. Good
Oh
memories.
yeah. Okay. With your own money, do you remember the first album that you bought?
With my own money. Uh, with my own money, and it's not in the top 5.
Okay.
But the one I remember buying on record with my own money was A Tribe Called Quest,
Mm,
People's Instinctive Travels and Paths and Rhythm, the long
mm,
titled one. And that would have been off the back of hearing Can I Kick It?
mm,
That was popular on UK radio at the time.
mm,
And that was incredible. And then off the back of that, I think that was the one I first bought with my own money.
mm.
Um, everything before that would have been bought by my mum,
Okay.
because she would buy me the records that I wanted to and stuff. But yeah, the first album, so the first LP I bought was that, and then
Gotcha.
yeah, and the second album after that, but the cassette version was Fear of a Black Planet by Public
Mm,
Enemy.
okay. Nice. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, but the first record I bought was the first Tribe album, and they've
Gotcha.
been a massive influence on me, as probably can gather from my Instagram handle.
Right, right.
Influence on me.
I never would have guessed.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's just too complex, isn't it?
That's funny.
Crack the code.
Right. Now let me ask you this one. So, in the height of your record collecting days, did you have a favorite record store?
So as a kid, where I lived down I lived in a different county called Hampshire. I lived in a small town in Andover, and we had a shop called Our Price. It was
Mm,
a record shop, and I suppose it was like somewhere between, like, like in America, you'd have your Tower Records and things like that. So all the big names were in the bigger cities, HMV, and then obviously had all the independent stores and stuff. But in Andover, we had Our Price.
mm,
So that is where I pretty much bought most of my LPs, my tapes, and my CDs.
mm,
To the point where I'd be saving my pocket money up,
mm,
and I'd purposely move things to the back
mm.
shelves to hide them until I got the right amount of money that I needed. Now
Right.
I know the dudes behind the counters, they knew what I was doing, because
Hmm.
I was probably one of the very few kids that was buying that sort of music. So they were cool with it. I'd be
Hmm.
like, I was real clever, like just like
Right,
that.
right.
And then like I'd come to it, and like, they'd find it like 4 weeks later, and I think I'd like won this major victory, against the
Hmm.
record shop, and I was there with my copy of whatever, feeling all proud about it and stuff.
Wow,
Uh,
at an early age, you were out there playing chess.
yeah, I was. Yeah, I guess I was. I was playing. See, I don't know how to play real life chess, but hide the record, hide the tape, hide the CD. Yeah, I could
Right.
do that. Do that for life. But then we also, once we got to a later age, we were going into London a lot more, because we're only an hour from London by train. So we were like going in, and I mean, this is back in the day where you could get on the train, get away with getting on the train without paying for the fares. You could get on the underground without paying on, saving all our money to go buy records on Oxford
Hmm.
Street in Soho, and just all over London, really. So there was like Mr. Bongos, Real Deal Records was a place I used to love going. Shout out to DJ Pete Bond.
Hmm.
He's a great guy, and he sold me many copies of many things as a kid. Friends with him on Instagram now and stuff. Really good dude. So yeah, our price on a local scale, and then like different shops up in London from there on as
Gotcha.
we were allowed to go further afield as we
Okay.
got. So yeah,
And
yeah.
on a single trip to the record store, how many pieces of vinyl at most did you ever walk out with?
Yeah, that would depend really, because we kind of had a system, me and a few of my friends, where we get the source, all right,
Hmm.
and we get Hip Hop Connection, which was the UK kind of equivalent, and we'd look down and be like, right, these are the albums that we want. We're not all going to buy the same album.
Hmm.
We're all going to choose which ones we want, so we can collectively go with what we're after, and then we can tape copies of what we want. So we go on a mission where that's what we do as a group. But sometimes it would just be a case of you go on your own and you'd buy an album and buy a couple of 12-inch singles.
Hmm.
That was usually what it was, because of money constraints and things
Right.
like that.
Right.
But when something was so well promoted in those magazines, and the reviews were really good, and we were hearing tapes of radio shows from America, and tapes that were coming from pirate stations in London through friends and through older kids and stuff, that's how we kind of reached those points. But yeah, I think on average, it was like a fever. You go into a shop and you
Hmm.
see all these things that you really wanted to have, and you'd have to be thinking carefully, what can I get? Because as well, bearing in mind, being in the UK, you were paying an import chart, you were paying import
Hmm.
prices.
Hmm.
so there was more expensive. So you had to
Mm.
real think smart about what you were going to buy.
Mm.
So so
Okay.
yeah. So but if there were certain things you'd see, you want to grab that straight away.
Right. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
cool. And Chris, with that being said,
Yes.
this is top five vinyl.
Okay.
Can you show me number five? What is the fifth vinyl record that you have in front of you?
The fifth one is the very first record that my mum bought me
Hmm.
in
Wow.
1986.
Okay.
So I would have been 7. And this record still plays to this day, still sounds great. And it is Run DMC's
Huh.
In Hell.
Nice.
Now, this record is probably what I would say is the gateway to my love of hip hop culture and rap music
Mm.
because it was at this, they were everywhere as a kid.
Mm.
They were everywhere. And Walk This Way, I can guarantee that the reason that this was bought for me was probably Walk This Way.
Mm.
I imagine more than likely because it was everywhere. It was on all the new radio shows. It was on all the TV channels. So this album is massively, massively important to me because it sounded like nothing I'd heard before. Because
Mm.
as a kid, you're growing up with a certain type of music, and all of a sudden there's these guys shouting over these beats, over these sounds, over these kind of it's aggressive, but yet it's kind of funky, and people can dance to it. And thinking back then, as a suburban white kid growing up in the United Kingdom, it was mind blowing,
Mm.
absolutely mind blowing. And even now, I still get chills when I play Peter Piper.
Mm.
I still get chills.
Mm. Yeah.
I still get that there's that energy, there's that feeling, there's that passion, and they were just one of the most important. They were at that time the most important group. They were
Mm.
like the gateway drug.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They were that was the access point. They were. That's what got me into other stuff. And off the back of this, it was the Beastie Boys,
Mm.
LL Cool J,
Mm.
Public Enemy. All kind of that whole Rush Management, Def Jam kind of thing was just, and it was massive. It was massive, and my older cousins were massively into it. One of my cousins had a Def Jam jacket. I don't know where he got that from.
Mm.
He got that. So it was music that it was almost, many people thought it was dangerous,
Mm.
and it was something else. So this album is just, it just made me want to rap.
Mm. Yeah.
I could rap, I was terrible, but it made me want to. It made me want to take the laces out of my shoes.
Mm. Mm.
It was, and also, I had to wear glasses from my probably around the ages of like 11 onwards, 12 onwards. But DMC always looked so cool with his
Mm.
glasses. So
Mm.
to me, the bigger the glasses frame was cool to me. That was iconic. It informed so much about who I am and what I've become and what I've done in areas. It's just this is so important to me. And to
Mm.
think it still plays perfectly and I've looked after it, it's just amazing. But
That's
there's one
awesome.
thing, one thing that I've always thought is odd, and only really thought about it today because of all this, because doing this with you, was that Jam Master Jay's not on the front cover.
Mm.
He's only on the back.
Mm.
But when you know how important Jay was
Right.
to the dynamic of the group, the image of the group, the motivation behind the group, it just seems really odd.
Mm. It does.
Just something I just thought struck me as a bit strange. So yeah, that's number 5.
Mm. Okay. All right. Nice. That was your five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your number four. Actually, before you introduce your number four, have you seen any of your five live?
Let me just have a quick think. Yes.
Okay. When we get there,
only,
you'll have to show
only
us.
one. Yeah, only one. Only
Okay.
one.
All right. Cool. So,
Um,
so we've seen your five. Let's go ahead and take a look at your
number
four.
4. So number 4 is Gangstar, Hard to Earn.
Mm. Love that album.
Now, for me, this is probably my favorite. Yeah, it is hands down my favorite Gangstar album.
Mm.
I know, obviously, for many, many people, obviously the real big selling Moment of Truth was the big comeback after all those years away from when they released this.
Hmm.
This is kind of like, to me, the end result of step into the arena
mm,
and daily operation. And then we
mm,
end up with this, which is just hands down for me, just a masterpiece of an album.
mm,
You've got everything on here. It's so well produced. Guru is completely in his lane as a poet, as a document. I think it's a documentary on record,
mm,
because so many issues and so many concepts and so many things are tackled. You know, you've got real tales from the street, from a world I know nothing about.
mm,
As a kid, as a 15-year-old kid, when this came out, it was mind blowing,
mm,
because at the time, anybody was everybody had a primo beat, didn't they? That
mm,
was a big
mm.
thing. A primo beat on your album or a Pete Rock beat, that was a big moment.
Yeah.
But this is just a complete body of work that
Yeah.
is peerless, in my opinion. You know,
Mm,
and you've just got the like, for example, like A Long Way to Go with the Fife sample. It's just
mm,
amazing. It's just absolutely brilliant. And you know, 2 years later, find that that was apparently submitted for the Poetic Justice soundtrack,
mm,
but then
mm,
they didn't want it in the end, so they stuck it on the album. Um, there's so many different things to it. Dwick, in a way, almost feels like it sticks out a bit on the record in some respects, but it lightens the mood.
mm,
It's quite a dark and heavy album all the way through. It's quite dark.
mm,
And then you've then got um, Speak Your Clout, which is just amazing.
mm.
You know, little Dap
Nutcracker.
the Nutcracker and LCJ Rue on there, and the way the beats change
Mm,
is just phenomenal. You
mm,
can't fault that. And then you've got, I mean, Mass Appeal, the big single from it.
mm,
It's not commercial, is it? But
mm,
it's catchy. You know,
mm,
it was just something, the way that he layered sound, and it was so clever. I thought so structured, so layered, and a group just working at their absolute top of their range, and just
mm,
coming out with just, I mean, it's about 50 minutes, 55 minutes long as an album. I've got this on record, I've got it on tape, and I've got it
mm,
on CD.
mm.
So that says it all.
Right. Can you flip that around? Anything on the back I haven't seen before? I've never seen the actual vinyl before. Okay, same as the
Just
CD.
basically the inlay of the CD.
Yep.
There's nothing particularly, no inlay. It's just the records there,
Okay.
as you'd expect. But yeah, this is a. I actually listened to this the other day,
Mm,
start to finish, and it puts you in that mindset. It puts you, and this album is what you should be listening to when the weather's like it is, when it's dark, gloomy, and you get your
right.
Timberlands on, you get your hoodie on. You know,
Mm,
it takes me back to that point in life. You
mm,
know, it reminds me of where I was as a kid and what I was into and what I was passionate about. And I
yeah,
still get the same emotions at 45 as I did at 15.
absolutely.
So
Mm,
it makes it timeless.
exactly.
And
Abs-
I will say this: there's been many amazing MCs rhymed over primo beats, but nobody, in my opinion, does it as well as Guru did.
They were a perfect blend.
Yeah. So
Hmm.
God bless that man, and it's such a shame that he's no longer with us. But
Hmm.
if you leave a body of work as good as this, then you know that's what's most
Hmm.
important.
Absolutely. I agree a thousand
Yeah,
percent.
yeah.
All
So
right, cool. So that
was
was your
four.
number four. Yep. Let's go
Yeah.
ahead and take a look at your number three.
So number three was a gift. So back in 2019, I turned 40, and my mum had arranged for a trip for us to go to Amsterdam because
Mm,
I'd never been, and I love art, culture, and all that. I love all that stuff. So I was really interested to go. So we went away for 5 days. I got a friend of mine called Quentin. He met him through Instagram, through hip hop culture, chatting and stuff. He lives just outside of Amsterdam, and he arranged to come and meet us on my actual birthday, and take me around all the record shops in Amsterdam, which is just
mm,
an incredible thing in its own right. So turned up and arrived, and he got me. So I've got a birthday present for you, and he got me two records. And the other record, brilliant, fantastic jazz record, but this one particularly stood out to me the most, and it's called Visions of a New World, and it's Lonnie Liston Smith and the Cosmic Echoes,
mm,
and it's from 1974.
mm,
So it's this absolutely beautiful jazz funk record. There's just so much going on with it, and it's on the Flying Dutchman Productions record.
mm.
1975, this copy.
Okay.
And it's just got beautiful titles like A Chance for Peace, Love Beams, Colors of the Rainbow, Sunset, Visions of a New World, Phase One, Phase Two. And it's just so relaxing.
Mm,
I absolutely adore this record because it was thought of as a gift, as a wonderful sort of sharing of friendship between
mm,
someone I've never met in the physical before, only through conversation, and it's created a brotherhood ever since.
mm. That's
Yeah, so it's
awesome.
wonderful. And I'll be honest with you, there's nothing better than waking up listening to the Visions of a New World Phase One and Phase Two.
Mm. I have to
As
check it out.
the sun breaks, you need to check this out, Harold. You've got to check
Mm.
this out. And what's great is about this is it's a nice gatefold,
Hmm.
so it opens out.
Wow, that's nice. Nice shot.
Yeah, and so you've got him there kneeling down.
Hmm. Okay.
It's a beautiful, and obviously one of the great things about records like this, in the liner notes, you see all the people that played on it,
Mm, mm,
all the musicians, and that's what was always great about like the hip hop records of back in the day, the rap records, because if they had sampled people and they'd obviously cleared the samples, you could
mm,
find out who they were, or
mm,
you could listen to it and you could work out who it was. So you could find so much new other music to you
mm,
off the back of what the producers and the DJs were using, the producers were using, the beat makers, whatever. You could find so much great stuff. So this is just one of the joys of collecting old records is that you've got so much more. You've
mm.
got artwork, which is something that you can get wonderful artwork now, but with a digital download, you don't get it.
No.
But off the back of this, I got into all the Lonnie Liston stuff, Lonnie Liston, the Cosmic Echoes and things, and it it reminds me of a wonderful trip, wandering the streets of Amsterdam looking for records.
Hmm.
Came up with some gems that day, and everywhere we went because they all knew Quentin got a discount.
Hmm.
So that was
That doesn't
really
hurt.
cool. Then
Hmm.
we went for a really nice meal afterwards. Took us to the old parts of Amsterdam so we could see the old culture, the old things, the old buildings, the old structures and stuff, and off the beaten track.
Hmm.
Going to small little shops with like these old dudes in there, and stuff, and then going to the other bigger ones where you've got all the pictures and the posters of all the different stars and people, hip hop stars that have been at rap stars have been over there, producers that have been digging for records there,
Hmm.
you
Hmm.
know. So it was really, really amazing experience. And so this record is super important to me. So I really cherish this one. It's very, very important. And I recommend that anybody who isn't familiar with Ollie Liston Smith and the Cosmic Echoes, get on the streaming platforms, you
Right.
know, get on there. And if you really like it, go out and find the records. Because that's what it's all
Absolutely.
about. Getting the
Exactly.
records, collecting, digging,
Hmm.
these things.
All right, cool. So that was your number three.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's take a look at your number two.
So number two is by an artist called AIM. And he came up through a label called Grand Central Records. And this is his album called Cold Water Music. Now, this is the anniversary, a reissue. So I never actually was able to get the original copy of the double vinyl I bought. It came out in 99.
Mm,
The best way to describe the music, I guess, the easiest way is that, like the DJ Shadow kind of down tempo, trip hop,
mm,
instrumental hip hop kind of thing, that movement that happened in the early 90s onwards with Moax Records and Ninja Tune and those kind of labels. Well, the label that AIM was originally signed to was a great label called Grand Central Records, which was out of Manchester in the northwest of England,
mm,
ran by a couple of guys, Ray and Christian, who also had their own music that was out there, and it was a whole sound. They released music by Tony D, the producer from New Jersey, from Trenton, who did Poor Righteous Teachers and YZ and other and
mm,
loads of other people that we know about. Um, and I went to university in '99, and I saw the reviews of the album of Cold Water Music and thought I'll give that a go. I
mm,
might enjoy that because of the similar types of styles, and I like the other stuff on Grand Central Records. And I straight away just fell in love with the album. So it's very much influenced by that digging in the crates kind of '90s hip hop production,
mm,
but with the samples and things that AIM himself brought to it. He lives in a small coastal town on the northwest of England called Barrow-on-Furness. Quite a quiet place, not the last place you'd expect to get sort of amazing beats and sounds and things like that. And he's gone on to have, other albums and things, and he now has his own label, which is ATIC Records.
Mm.
And so this is the nice reissue. But what I loved about what the things I fell in love with this record was that you've got these amazing instrumental tracks, but then you've got AG of Show and Biz and AG on there
Mm.
doing a track. You've got YZ, you've got Kurt Ball, Q Ball, and Kurt Cazell, other people from JVC Force from that era. So you've got these amazing people on there, and his later albums featured Souls of Mischief, Diamond D. He worked with a whole different bunch of different people, and this is just, again, this is very much a brilliant autumn winter album. And it's on all the streaming platforms. You can quite easily find it. But it was the samples, the sounds. It again, it's like an album, probably under an hour, but it really grabs you. It absorbs you. Massively important record to me. Really important because there's an interlude, which I suppose I can say it because it's been out since '99. Everyone will know, but it samples some dialogue from Dawn of the Dead, from the original George the Romero film. And there's this absolutely amazing track called Demonic or Demonique, whatever you want to pronounce it. And it's got this amazing kind of horror vibe, but it actually uses dialogue. He's taken sampled dialogue from Halloween and Halloween 2, the original films with the actor Donald Pleasance and the other cast. Trust me, Harold, it's the most amazing listen. All right. But what's lovely about this, two more things that are really lovely about this, is that it's been done on a ice blue vinyl. So it's nice.
Oh, wow. Yeah, it's pretty.
So it's nice and beautiful. And what's extra special about this, and part of the reason why I've not took the plastic off, because really you should always take the plastic off your records because it constricts and it shrinks and it can damage your records, right? So that, out there, listeners, is an important piece of information. Remove the plastic from the sleeves, people. But the reason the plastic is still on this is because Ames signed it himself for me because of our friend, Flatline.
Nice.
He knows him quite well.
Okay.
And he arranged for that to be done for me.
Wow, that's awesome.
I'm a big fan. So that's a really, really good thing of Flatline to do that for me. So this sits nicely. So my CD copy is the original artwork on Grand Central, and then this is the reissue version. And seriously, you need to check this out, people.
That's so
massively
cool.
Important record. To me, massively important. And to many others as well. Yeah.
All right, cool. And on for the grand finale, Chris.
That finale, the final
have for number one.
Yeah, the drum roll. Okay. So, back in the day, I had my own website music blog called knowtheledge.com, right? Through WordPress. And I just did it for my own pleasure to review, post YouTube videos, things I liked, reviewed records, reviewed albums, blah, 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 through using Instagram and Twitter as a way of promoting it. Because back then, the blog thing was a big thing, as I'm sure you know, blogs were massive. And I reviewed an album by a producer from the Bronx called Ray West with OC, Digging in the Crates crew, called Ray's Cafe. Ray caught sight of that review, sent me a message saying how much he appreciated what I'd written and how it was a spot-on review. Fast forward, we became really good friends, connected really, really well, chatted loads. He'd send me music across and I reviewed other things and I interviewed him. So that was probably 2012, 2013 sort of time. And then I went to New York for a holiday in 2015 and he invited me over to the Bronx to his parents' house where his studio was in their basement in Throgs Neck. So I spent pretty much half a day or more with him in the basement, in the studio, looking at his production, what he did, all his memorabilia, all his records, all his toys, absolutely everything. And bearing in mind, this is a guy that, if you're aware of him or not, he has worked with Rock Marciano, with AG, with Cool Keith, obviously with OC, John Robinson, Blue from on the West Coast. Just the names are Lord Tariq, Curious George. I could go on, basically. There's so many people he's worked with. And he's very much one of the key elements of the whole kind of, the kind of movement that Rock Marciano did, where there wasn't the drum beats so much. It was just more the production without the drumless production. So he's a real pioneer of that, Ray West, big thing. And he set up a label called Red Apples 45 with AG. and they put out different projects and things like this. So he did a project with AG, and it was called Got Berries. I think that's correct. And then they wanted to release a revisited version through Ray's label, Red 45, and Tough Kong Records, which is an Italian-based company. And Ray hit me up and said, "Looking for want some artwork for this release. Can you send me the pictures you took when you came to the basement, the studio that day?" So this came out in 2018, bearing in mind I took these pictures back in 2015. So I said, yeah, absolutely. I sent him over 150 pictures, right? Sent him across 150 pictures. And before I knew it, they wanted to use some of them for the release. So the front cover is Ray's hand on his MPC, I believe. That's a photograph of mine. And on the back cover is Ray walking through the grounds down to through the basement. That's also my photograph. So my name there, Chris Cammock, photos by Chris Cammock. And in all honesty, it's a brilliant LP, right? It was limited to, I think, either 200 or 300 copies on initial release. I think it was reissued the other year by Get On Down Records, based out of Boston. I'm not too sure. But this is probably one of the most amazing things I've ever received in the post. To actually have something that I've done featured so predominantly on a record by somebody who is a great friend in Ray West and one of the greatest MCs of that time, AG. To have something that I've played a very, 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 very small role in, but to think that there's people all around the world who've got this in their collection. And off the back of that, you know, I've released stuff just on streaming platforms that's used my photography. He had a 7-inch that came out last year, which I still need to get hold of a copy. I haven't managed to get hold of a copy, called Summer Vibes, was a 7-inch single, which just used a picture, a sea lapping up on a beach that I took on a holiday. It's nothing to do with the Bronx, you know, but they love the picture and they use that. So there's my hobby, my passion. One of my passions is taking pictures, is photography. Abstract in a way, you know, nothing too straightforward, but different. But to have that predominantly used as an album's art cover is just, and the back cover is mind blowing. And it's a lovely vinyl as well, because it's that one of those kind of colored jobs that's really beautiful. And then it also came with a 7-inch single as well, so side C and side D, featuring Rock Marciano on there as well. So yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And then one of the great things as well is that whilst sorting stuff out, I found the picture that I took.
Wow. That's so cool.
Thought you might want to see that.
Yeah, that's so cool.
So yeah, so that's just, you know, I'm always sending in pictures. We're always talking about things for future projects, and it's kind of like, for me, it doesn't matter. I'm not interested in I wouldn't want to be famous or anything like that, but to think that something I love and something I've done has made an impact and is out there physically. It's just a massive, massive thing. And yeah, I'm proper happy about it.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's the joy of the internet. You know, as much as we complain about different things, that's what's created those connections and brought things together and created friendships.
Absolutely.
Through records.
Music.
You know, music. The power of music. That sounds cheesy, but it's true. The power of music, you know?
You're right.
Bring people together from all over the world, different, you know? It's good.
You're right.
But yeah, that's my top 5.
Nice. Well, Chris, I want to thank you so much for your time.
No problem. My pleasure, Harold.
Good stuff. We'll talk soon.
We will do. Take it easy, brother.
Stay
safe.
You too.
Keep it funky, yeah?
All right. Of course.
See you later. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.